Yes, guys. Ryjack back with another stream. I do apologize for the incorrect thumbnail where it said Men City, Men United. I clicked the wrong file, so my apologies. I did that incorrectly, but we are all fixed. I've got it set now correctly. All things football. It's in the chat. It says, yo, what's up, buddy? Penguin entered the chat, of course. Spurs are so bad, yet I'm so nervous. This one and Anfield are notoriously bad for us. Could you imagine putting the wrong thumbnail? Yes, I know, wrong thumbnail. My bad. My bad, guys. I'm sorry. I apologize. Talsif says, yo, what's up, buddy? How are you doing? A lot to discuss tonight. It's a nice, chill, hopefully, late night stream. If people are angry for whatever reason, of course, we can vent. We can complain and whatnot, but I don't think there's a whole lot to be too upset about at the moment. Dang, Mastermind, what's my prediction immediately? We're like 2 minutes into the stream. Prediction for Spurs and City. I do feel confident. I'm a bit nervous. I can't lie. But I just think City will win. I don't know if it'll be a big scoreline, maybe like a 2-1 type, squeaky bum type game, close one, but I feel it right. I do feel it right. Will we beat Spurs and Liverpool? We will discuss. We can discuss both games this evening, Talsif. I don't know. I think I said yesterday I was a little bit more nervous for Spurs and Liverpool, but I kind of feel like I've switched at this point. It feels odd. I'm not sure. Anyway, let me pull up Twitter like I always do. There we go. Twitter is pulled up. City Extra feed locked in so we can go over what's been happening. Of course, Oscar Bob, my star boy, has officially left the club. He had his, moment that got us the win in Newcastle, which was probably a title winning moment in a way. Like, imagine we don't win that Newcastle game. We might not win the title that year. So, big ups to Oscar Bob. Thank you for the moment. Even though there are people out there who say you can't thank players for individual moments, I am not one of those people. I will thank Oscar Bob for his fine individual moment. I also will thank you for your preseason moment that sold me dreams. It sold me dreams. So he left £27 million transfer fee, 20% sell on, matching rights, and no buyback, which is fine. I don't think you need a buyback. Hate playing Spurs away. Also, we will probably lose to Liverpool. I don't know about lose. Liverpool don't have a great Anfield record this year. However, I know what you mean. They've got an absolute just chokehold over us when we go to Anfield. It's like 2 wins in 23 years, something crazy like that. No, as a Bob Glazer, this hurts your soul. It does. Imagine if Leeds get something at Ellen Road. One can hope. How is Oscar leaving Man City before Savio? Well, Savio's hurt, so who knows. Oscar Bob, thanks for the good moment you gave us at the club, especially the goal against Newcastle that won us the league. I agree. Yeah, that happened this morning officially. Of course, you can see him right there in the Fulham kit. It's actually kind of nice. Looks good on him. So I will be rooting for him. Hopefully he does well, just not against City. But we don't need to spend a whole lot of time on Oscar Bob, really. That's pretty much it for his City career. I don't expect him to come back to the club, unfortunately. Liverpool are average this year. They've not been very good. That is a fact. I cannot disagree with. That is a fact. Anyway, Pep Linders did the press conference. I don't know if there was any notable news. Maybe Jeremy Doku's out for 18 days, which is like just under 3 weeks. I wonder where that puts us. I didn't check and see our schedule. What's 3 weeks from now? How many games is Doku missing? Another injury for Doku, by the way. I'm a bit unhappy with his injury record, He seemingly is a player that consistently has injury problems. If you look at his injury history, it's not great. He doesn't scream, I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but Doku is an semi-injury prone. I don't know if he's like super injury prone, but he's an injury prone adjacent, I would say. Yeah, Doku is out, but I want to see our games. Why is this app? FotMob sometimes is so slow. He's out for 3 weeks, roughly, at 18 days. So we're looking at like maybe he's back for the Newcastle game in the league. That's overshooting it a little bit, but maybe he's back for the Salford game. Maybe he makes a substitute appearance against Salford, Jeremy Doku, and he misses Spurs, Newcastle, which shouldn't make too big a deal. We're probably fine there. Liverpool's a pretty big miss. Fulham, he's probably unavailable for, and then maybe he can make a substitute appearance here and then be good for Newcastle. Who knows? But he's out for 3 weeks or so, is what it looks like. Savio's the worst player of all time, no joke. Okay, we face Fulham next month. Was a different Pep at the press conference, didn't say too much. Would you start Omar Marmoush against Spurs? I don't think so, but I'm not sure. Hopefully Doku is available for Liverpool. I don't think he will be, unfortunately. It said 18 days, and that's, Liverpool is in like 8 days or something like that, 10 days. He said less than 18 days, and it's a similar injury, so he's just kind of an injury-prone player, unfortunately. What else? Ruben Diaz was burglarized at his house, which is awful. But he will be back in training on Monday. That's good to see. One on Marmoush to start against Spurs. Happy to see Nico G on the field. Will Nico G start? I'm not sure. I don't know. Grealish has a foot injury. That's not really relevant, but I don't know if he's going to be able to play anymore. If he's got a fractured foot, he might be out for the rest of the season, which sucks for him, obviously, and probably puts a final nail in the World Cup hopes that he maybe had. Any other bit of... No, I think that's about it for the transfer. It's not transfer. For the press conference. Calvin Phillips is a target for Wolves and Burnley, which would be a pretty good deal to get him off the books. I imagine that's a loan, but, we can all hope that's a perma deal. Diaz return aiming for Liverpool. True. Don't play Ruben Diaz against Newcastle. I don't think you probably would. I would be surprised. Shout out to Ed in the chat. He says, big up, out for the season for Grealish, I would imagine, is what he means. And yeah, that sucks. So no World Cup, most likely, for Jack Grealish. I guess technically they could take him if he's healthy, but, he hasn't been that impressive. I think the England winger situation probably doesn't need a Jack Grealish, unfortunately for him. Breaking news, Jack Grealish is back on loan. I don't think he's back. I think actually he's not back. I'm pretty sure I read he's going to be staying at Everton for the rehab situation. You'd think footballers have the top security available. You would think, but, is there someone guarding their house when they're not there? I'm not so sure on that specifically, but, it is what it is. Then Thomas Frank talked about wanting Antoine Semenyo. They couldn't get him. Then some news came out about Stefan Ortega, which, this might be a done deal pretty soon with Forest, which is kind of weird because they have Sells. I don't know if maybe Sells is injured or something. Breaking, Nottingham Forest have now reached full verbal agreement with Stefan Ortega, aim to reach an agreement on Monday via Pletigol, says Ed. Okay. That's kind of cool. Good for Ortega. Again, I think if we're saying Ortega's leaving, we can thank him for the moment. Unlike some people on this social media content in the game, they say we can't. We can. I thank Stefan Ortega for stopping Heung-min Son's shot, getting us to win the league as well. Because if that shot goes in, maybe we don't win the league. Maybe we do score, and it's fine. But shout out to Stefan Ortega. One beautiful moment. I know some people did not like Stefan Ortega at the end, but he did. He was a successful transfer. That guy was on a free. He came in, did a good enough job. People were talking about, man, Ortega might be the best backup goalie in the league. Him and Kelleher. So I know you don't like him, Statue Tega, but Ortega, top quality backup for a time. Trafford's probably better than him. Ed knows who I'm talking about for sure. Forrest takes all our scraps for sure. Why did you two take my mod wrench and give me this stupid looking badge thing? I see a mod wrench. I don't know. I don't know what you mean. Do you think Mark Gay is world class? Ooh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he's world class. I mean, he's probably close. He's England's like best center back. So by default, if you're one of the best 5 nations in the world's best center back, then maybe that means you're world class. But it depends on what you mean by world class. I only respect him for the one save in his career, his whole career. Ed is gonna thank him for the moment, says Spartacus. Spartacus, that's what we're doing. I'm thanking him for the moment. I'm putting it out there on the internet. I thank players for moments. The Spurs moment, thank you, Stefan Ortega. Not a whole lot else, to be honest, but you did come in on a free, so I don't know if we're gonna, he's gonna leave on a free, but if we get anything for him, I mean, that's pretty good business, I would say. Yes, evening Spartacus, Spurs moment for sure, for sure. Then we got some semi-interesting news about Severe Naipan heading back to City to, I guess, just be part of training because he's not getting any minutes at Middlesbrough. That's where he was, right? Middlesbrough. The plan to acclimatize him with English football, let me show more here, has not worked. Naipan would be ineligible to play in the UCL or Premier League due to homegrown quotas, and I thought, okay, maybe Ortega's going to leave, and then that would make him eligible, but apparently that's not the case either. Maybe because Ortega's not registered the same way or something. I don't know. But it basically sounds like Naipan is coming back just to be in and around the first team because it's better to do that than be at Middlesbrough and not play. So, for all the people that were hopeful we would see Naipan this year, I mean, maybe we get an FA Cup appearance at some point in a couple weeks, but it feels like probably not. Which, again, is fine if he's not good enough to make it at Middlesbrough right now. Not sure that speaks, highly about him being ready to contribute in the Premier League in a title race or in the Champions League. So, Naipan coming back. Maybe in a year he'll be ready. Maybe not. Who knows? He's one of the best center backs in the league and England's best center back. Plus, so many clubs wanted to buy him. I'm assuming he's world class. All talks between the two clubs over Ortega are already underway, which could smooth the path for Anderson potential high-profile switch. Good shout, good shout. A lot of people are saying that the Anderson deal is basically done, but I don't know if that's necessarily true. It would be great if it was, but until we see the dude holding up the shirt, you never know. You never know. So maybe relations improve between City and Forest with this deal because, the whole Gibbs-White thing last year, Forest didn't want to sell. Maybe Mr. Marinakis didn't like how City did that, but now we're mending fences over here type deal, something like that. So yeah, good for all parties. I think it is smart. Nico Gonzalez or Martin Zubimendi? Good question. I think probably Zubimendi's had a better year. It's fair to say, I would guess, over Nico G. But Nico G's good as well. I don't know. Hard one to think about. It hurts me to thank Statue Tega. He made some of the most horrendous mistakes I've seen, but he got me a title. I guess. Naipan is just a kid, future player. Yeah, I mean, maybe he goes on loan again next year type deal. Stays in England so we can make him homegrown. I've heard people say that. Maybe he goes to a Premier League team like a Bournemouth or something where they play somewhat nice football and they don't go to like a, I don't know, Burnley or something where they just chill. I guess Burnley won't be in the league next year, but you know what I mean. Like go to a place where they're actually trying to play some possession football. That would work potentially. Bottom half of the Premier League table. Maybe he's ready for that. Maybe not. I don't know. Right now, we hate Forest. Forest hate us. I don't know if giving them a washed German keeper makes them like us. I mean, it's not going to hurt, though. I don't know if it's going to hurt, I don't know. Also, Stephen Mufuni joined Watford on loan, replacing Max Aline, which is pretty cool. Well done there. And that, I believe, is it. There's the thing Ed mentioned earlier in the chat. Forest have reached a full verbal agreement with Ortega. Now you have to reach an agreement with City. He's got 6 months on the deal. He's a backup keeper. Like, surely we're going to get very minimal, if anything. So, who knows? He's washed for City standard, not Forest. Come on. Yeah, I mean, he's not a bad keeper. He's just not City level. Phil Foden, the GOAT, says, come on, City. We can have a discussion about Phil Foden as well. I know some people are very unhappy with Phil, but I think everybody should calm down a bit when we think about Phil because, you know, he's one of our own. He's a star boy. Maybe he's not having a great time at the moment specifically, but Phil Foden is still, you know, City through and through. We should always back our own. Let's say that. Smash the likes up. Yes, guys, appreciate that. If you would, hit the like button. If you're new, subscribe as well. We're going for 1K on the channel. We're like, I don't know, 60, 70 away, something like that. So always appreciated. It's going to hurt when Wolves put 8 past him. I think he's played well, but he's tired. Talking about Phil. I think for Foden, I would really just like some goal contribution. Some G and A. Some old school, give me some stats, buddy. I don't necessarily think he's been awful per se, but where's if I do this, I mean it is a bit jarring when you look at his stats, specifically Phil Foden. Because it's just a whole lot of zeros in the G and A. Like, what is this? 10 games? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 10 games of, you know, he didn't play all of them. He didn't play this one. Some of them are substitute appearances, but it's 9 appearances, no G and A. 10, 11 appearances. You got to go back to December 14th for his last goal. So he's basically gone a month and a half of game time with no goal, no assist. And you know, he's known for getting us goals. He's scored 20 goals in a season at one point. He's got 7 Prem goals right now. How many has he got on the season? He got 13 goals so far this year. How many are in the Club World Cup? 3. So he's really got 10. He's really got 10 goals in 32 games, which, you know, it's not terrible, but he had such a nice run of games here. 2, 2, 1, and 1. That it's difficult to see what happened. Why has he taken this, you know, downturn in form where he can't seemingly contribute G and A? So it's frustrating, but I think people are going a bit too far. Like people saying sell Foden, like need to relax. He looked bad when he came on versus Galatasaray, to be fair. He hasn't looked great. Like if you look at the ratings as well, 6-4, 6-2, 6-3, 6-1. But, you know, the ratings are not everything, but eye test-wise, he probably wasn't particularly great. To be fair, he didn't realize he was going to come on in the 20th minute. That is possible as well, you know, but, you know, he's also a professional footballer who's made like 350 appearances. Like, I don't know. Good strike that was versus Palace. Oh, back in the, yeah, very good. I miss Prime Foden. Prime Foden was something else, guys. Look at this over here. His PFA Player of the Season, 39 G&A in 53 games, man. That is incredible. Incredible stuff. Last year, obviously a downturn, but he is already outdone last year. So it's getting better. He just needs some more consistency, potentially. Something like that. Another good run of a couple of games where you can get a goal or an assist, and I think he'll get the confidence back. He seems like a confidence player, which bugs me because, you know, you're Phil Foden. You've won like what 6 Premier Leagues. How are you out of confidence? I don't like that particularly, but some players are like that seemingly. Elias says, "I told you we were not out of the league title race." Hey, I mean, we're not out of the league title race. It still might not be. You know, we're not the favorites at the moment. It is still 4 points. Arsenal are still probably considered the favorite at this time, but we'll see. This is a big week coming up for City, a massive week in terms of fixtures and what 2 wins would do for us to the Arsenal players. I think is something to consider. So say we beat Spurs, we beat Liverpool. That's 6 points, 6 difficult points to get. Even though it is Spurs, Spurs are a bogey team for what it's worth. Spurs are a bogey team. Anfield, a win at Anfield, and then we have somewhat of a nice run of games where we can maybe stack some wins. Fulham at home, we should be all right. Newcastle at home, you think we're okay. Leeds, difficult-ish, but you'd think we should win. Forest at home. West Ham are awful. Palace are in disarray. And then it's not until April where you play like a big top Premier League team again. So these 2 games here, I don't know that we necessarily require 6 points, but 6 points would be so massive. So massive. Palace are in the mud now. Gahey, Glasner, Wharton, etc. all leaving. Also throw in Mateta is leaving as well. I think he might be going to AC Milan. I think I read. But Mateta potentially out the door as well. Palace are just, I don't know. I don't know what's up there. Feels like they could have made that next step by, backing Glasner, and then they kind of just decided to not. I don't know. I don't know if it's just me, but I think Cherky hasn't played great lately. I think Cherky hasn't been very good lately. I mean, he did just win man of the match in his last game, as far as I'm aware. Where's Ryan Cherky? Let's take a look at Ryan Cherky. I mean, in his last 10, he's got a goal, 2, 3, 4 goals in his last 10, 2, 3 assists in his last 10, 4 goals, 3 assists, 7 G&A in his last 10. That's all right. To me, Cherky is much more of a moments player, whereas at any moment he can create something or score something. But if he doesn't have that moment, it doesn't feel like he did a whole lot because he's probably losing the ball quite a bit. He's probably trying these passes in behind that maybe don't come off. But if they do come off, they result in chance creation. So a lot of times, like, no G&A and he's in the 6s. He gets a goal and he's in the 7s, 8s is what it feels like. This is maybe rare because, he only played 17 minutes where he doesn't have a goal or an assist and also has a good game. Those don't really feel like they happen with Cherky. But numbers-wise, 7 G&A in his last 10 is pretty good. Pretty good. He kind of coasts, He's never like, I don't know how to describe it. Like defensive contributions over here, he's in the bottom 12%. That's pretty poor. But goals and chances, he's, basically the best of the best in Europe. 100% in chances created, 100% in touches, 90% in goals. Like there's not much more you can ask for with this guy. To me at least. Anyway, we might as well discuss Spurs now. We're about halfway through the stream. So Spurs, this is the predicted lineup here. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do with my lineup, but I did put out a lineup in the Discord earlier, and some people were unhappy with it. They said I was crazy, but I like the lineup I put out. As far as Spurs, they've got them playing 3-4-3, or I guess that's kind of a 5-2-3 in a way as well, because Spence and Archie Gray are going to be wingbacks, I guess, in this scenario. A base 2 of Gallagher and Bissouma, Audibert, Solanke, and Xavi Simons. Maybe he comes inside a bit, and Archie Gray can provide the width. I don't know. I haven't watched a whole lot of Spurs. Injury-wise, they have quite a few, which is notable. Dejan Kulusevski, who I really like. I really, really like in general. I think he's a very good player. He is out. Ben Davies is solid. He is out. Pretty big miss, Mickey van de Ven, who I know a lot of people in the chat have said they would have liked us to go for over Gahey, which I probably would prefer Gahey personally, but Mickey van de Ven is very good, very fast, of course. It looks like he's unable to play this one. It says doubtful, but sometimes when it says doubtful, they still play, but it seems like he's not playing. Pedro Porro out. James Madison, always injured. Lucas Bergvall, injured, which is a big miss. I like him as well. Rodrigo Betancourt, also injured. Mohamed Kudus, injured. Richarlison, injured. That's quite a bit of injuries. I mean, in terms of first-team players for them, I know we have a bit as well, but this list is long. I didn't really realize how many injuries they had. I mean, you really have almost a starting 11 here of injured players. Like, Richarlison probably starts. Kudus starts. Betancourt is maybe a squad player. Bergvall starts. Madison starts. Pedro Porro starts. Van de Ven starts. Kulusevski starts. That's pretty considerable, I would say, their injuries. So we definitely need to be taking advantage of that situation. And, I mean, the team they're rolling out here, Dragusin is not great. Danso is okay. Gallagher is fine. DJ Ed is, I guess okay. I don't know. Audibert, I don't rate at all. Solanke is fine. Xavi Simons has been pretty poor in general. Like, I know it's Spurs. And we always struggle. But, man, that squad is just nowhere near what you'd probably think it should be for Spurs. If you look at Spurs home, we did actually beat them last season, 2025. And then they beat us season before that. We've actually won 3 of the last 4 at Spurs Stadium. But before that, we had a pretty bad run of games here. Where we couldn't even score. We went from 2019 all the way until 2024 without scoring at Spurs Stadium. I think that was probably some crossover in their new stadium and their old one. But, man, that is brutal. That is a brutal record. 3 of the last 4, though, we've been all right. And in general, we do win head-to-head series of the last, 37 matches. So happy to have Gehi and Semenyo for the UCL from now on. Also very big in terms of us competing for the UCL. The UCL path is somewhat out there. They did a draw this morning, and I had thought it would be more substantial. I thought we'd figure out which game we needed to watch to figure out who we're playing, but no, there's going to be another draw. So that's annoying, but whatever. We obviously play one of Real Madrid or Benfica and Bodo or Inter Milan. You like to think Inter Milan and Real Madrid would win, and then we play a coin flip between those two, which will end up being Madrid because, that's just how it is, but you never know. If you look at our table, Spurs are way, way down. 14th place currently on 28 points. 31 goals conceded, 33 scored, 7 wins, 7 draws, 9 losses in the league. I mean, it's probably panic stations. They're not even, honestly, that safe from the relegation zone when you think about it. They're only 8 clear at this time. And let's say we beat them. I mean, you wouldn't expect West Ham to beat Chelsea, but who knows? I don't think they're going to get relegated or anything, but man, that is rather paltry position for Spurs to be in. A club like Spurs down in 14th after finishing 16th or 17th last year, that is criminal for them. All right, we can do a lineup builder here for the Spurs game. This is somewhat the formation I think we're going to roll with if we're doing this 4-2-2 that we put out there against Galatasaray. Cherky had that comment after the game where he said all the players love this formation that the manager plays because it's very packed in the middle, which obviously if you look at it, this is very, very midfield wise, very packed the midfield type deal. Donnarumma obviously in goal. And then there's a few, somewhat indispensable players, I would say, like Mateus Nunes. I think the center back position is relatively, selects itself with the injuries and whatnot. You have that right there. And then you'll have Holland in at a striker position, of course. The other ones, though, are somewhat up for debate. What you do, this midfield four, whereas the wing depth is provided, or the width is provided by the fullbacks, most likely if we play this system. So I'm not sure. Spartacus says, what concerns me about Spurs is that we use a central-based pressing structure. This allows them to have a man advantage wide, since Spurs don't even attempt to play through the center. And maybe Pep won't do this if he also feels this concern that you're saying. That's always possible, but it did feel like it worked pretty well, and it's a system that allows Marmoush and Holland to play together. But this maybe a system relied on Doku more than Marmoush. I don't know, because this player right here was Jeremy Doku, whereas Marmoush was here. Can this be Semenyo and Marmoush? Does that work? I'm not so sure. Can Marmoush play another position than this one? I don't know. Can this be Semenyo? I'm not sure. Then you have the back two. It's probably Rodri and Bernardo potentially for this one. I mean, you have Nico O'Reilly as an option. I don't know. That's where I get a little confused with this, with what we're going to do. That could be a concern because we tend to have men down in those wide areas normally. Since Spurs overload those areas, we might have big trouble with that. If Pep doesn't want to do that, we can't play this. Spartacus, what would you do, buddy? Would you be doing the 4-2-2, or are you changing it? Because I don't know. I'm not a big tactics guy. Like, I test this thing. I don't know enough to come to these conclusions by just watching on TV. That's what I would say. I like to get my information from others and try to improve my knowledge like I can, and give my information and my personal opinion, but I don't know. Cherokee to start. This position right here is probably Cherokee. There's no Doku, obviously, so the sub for Doku was Foden. So, I mean, I guess that's where you do there, unless... And then maybe this is Semenyo, potentially. Semenyo as more of a second striker, two-man pressing front, potentially. I'm not so sure. Because if Semenyo can't do this role here, I don't know. Because I think Semenyo has to start. The guy just scores goals, obviously. So I feel like he has to start, personally. But I could be wrong. Then you have Nunez providing the width. Do you want Nico O'Reilly here? Do you want Ryan Aït-Nouri here? I think both have really good cases to be made to start. O'Reilly was good in midfield, probably his best midfield game, I would think, based on what I can remember. People were saying he was good against Newcastle. I didn't personally think he was as good against Newcastle. I thought he was much better against Galatasaray. For me, I felt like he was more calm on the ball, maybe. Maybe that's just a product of who he played, potentially. Spartacus says, I changed the pressing shape. I just make the same pressing structure from the treble 4-4-2. The issue is that Cherokee off ball is not good enough to play in this system. Yeah, Cherokee off ball doesn't do anything, really. I'm with you there. I think Ryan Aït-Nouri deserves a start. I think he deserves a start. He was very good against Galatasaray. He provided what should have been a goal and an assist. He got neither. He should have scored by taking the shot on himself. He didn't back himself, which, it happens. And then Holland should have scored his cross into the box very early in the first 5-6 minutes, whatever it was. I don't know that Nico O'Reilly provides the same offensive skill set necessarily that Aït-Nouri does. O'Reilly is maybe a better option if we're going to switch this scenario, this team up, and have a fullback in this position, in this midfield position, because maybe he's getting a bit more comfortable there. So, I don't know. I like Norway starting this one. I think Rodri also got a full rest because he was suspended, so we had no choice but to rest him. So I would assume he is available once again to play. And then this spot, do you throw in Bernardo Silva because he basically always plays? And to be fair, has been playing pretty well. Do you throw Nico G in to have a double pivot? Rodri, Nico G? Maybe. I think it probably would look something like this as well. Something like that, per se, ish. Bernardo plays all the games when he's available. Pep loves him. He had those comments the other day about how he sleeps better when he knows Bernardo's available. But I know people want to see Nico G. Rodri double pivot. And if Bernardo's main duty is to, be a receiver of the ball from Donnarumma and can help with Rodri, can Nico G do that as well? I feel like probably he can do that as well. Is he the leader that Bernardo is out there? Probably not. So you maybe gain some athleticism and I want to say physicality just because of Nico G's stature, but Bernardo is kind of a dog out there. He kind of is a physical type player as well. So it's a difficult one for me. I would guess you see Bernardo. That would be my guess. Bernardo Silva is the one that look at the versatility, by the way, on him. Center mid, right mid, left back. He's all over the place at times. So I would think this is what you kind of are going to see. I don't know if I like it, but it feels like I like it. But I also wouldn't be opposed to changing things a bit because I don't know if I like this Foden Cherky role. Because once Doku came off the pitch, we were not nearly as good against Galatasaray as well. The performance levels of the team dropped when Doku was out. So if Semenyo can do that role and do that, and then we can have Marmoush come back in, because I know some people have said they want to see Marmoush as well. Maybe you do that and have that kind of line up there where, Marmoush can start out here, and we could even do this at times like that, where, but again, I don't know if Cherky's going to work in this midfield by himself. That's kind of what Spartacus was saying, maybe. You could switch it, do something like that potentially as well, which just ends up basically being that. So I don't know. I'm not so sure what you do, to be honest, guys. I'm really uneasy on what we do. I think the more that I think about it, it's maybe this. It's maybe this. You guys have to let me know in chat what you think specifically about the lineup. And maybe the lineup isn't even what's super relevant about the game. It's just get 11 players out there who you trust to win you the game. Because I know we talk about we want good performances. Honestly, good performances would be great. But based on this schedule that we've got, a 1-0 scrappy win would be fine with me. Would be fine. A 1-0 absolute dogfight. Marmoush can't play as a 10. His touch is not good enough. I do agree. In general, his touch is not good enough. That was more of just trying to figure out what to do. Because I'm not sure. I'd play Foden instead of Cherky. Spartacus brings up a good point. Maybe this is not a game for Cherky because we did play Spurs earlier in the year. We got smoked. And I want to say Cherky started in the midfield that game and it didn't go well. If I can remember back to what? September, was it? Was it the end of August? End of August. 2-0 we lost. What did we do lineup-wise? Lineup-wise, we did. We had Cherokee in the midfield, in a midfield three of Cherokee, Reinders, and Nico G, with Marmouche out on the left and Bob out on the right. My goodness. Rico Lewis at right back, Trafford in goal. This lineup is almost like unimaginable to see now. So before we had Donnarumma, Stones never plays anymore. Nico G has been out for weeks. We certainly won't see this again because this is basically Nico G by himself. Cherokee doesn't do enough to get back. Reinders doesn't do enough to get back. Maybe Reinders is a shout to start this game. Maybe Reinders can start this one. I don't know. It's also the game Nori got injured. If I remember right, he was pretty solid originally to start this one. And then he got injured in the 23rd minute, yeah. And Ake came on. Subs-wise, we had Doku for the second half, Foden, Rodri. Not a very good game. This was never going to work. I don't know what we were doing in this one. This is crazy to look at. Crazy to look at. If you wanted to put Reinders in there, maybe you do this. Wait, no, hold on. Maybe it's this. Tijani. Something like that. Tijani hasn't been great recently, but neither has Phil. Marmouche wasn't very good against Galatasaray. Semenyo has to start. I'm not sure. I'm unsettled on this lineup. I might need some more time to discuss in my brain to figure out what I would like to do with that lineup. I don't know. It is what it is, guys. We will figure out what the lineup is over the next couple of days. I want to shout out here on the channel just because we do have a Discord channel. If anyone is interested in joining the Discord, I'm going to put a link in the chat right now. That is the Discord link right there. It is free to join. If you want to join it, cool. Just click the link. You join the Discord. There's a lot of City fans in there where we just kind of chop it up, hang out throughout the day, talk about the games, transfer news, and whatnot. And it always automatically posts in there when I go live. So if you're interested in that, join the Discord right there. There is the link. All right. I don't know if there's much else to go over, to be honest with you guys. Game is on Sunday. I will be doing a live watch along for the game, as I always do on the weekends. And then maybe post-game, I'll also do a video post-game. But check out all of my social stuff. I've got Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all of it. So all that stuff is in my channel description. If you're interested, you can always check it out. And come back, like I said, for the watch-along on Sunday. If you can't make it to the game, like me, living in America, pretty impossible to go. But anyway, that is it for the stream. I do appreciate it. If you guys are new, hit subscribe. Always appreciate new subs. We're going for 1,000 on the channel. Getting closer every day.